It's Friday, April 8th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and today we'll be bringing you the latest news around southwestern Connecticut. And of course, Rob Adams joins us later with a sports update and a look at the forecast. And before we head out for the weekend, we'll also be taking a look at our biggest stories of the week. But first, the family of an attorney found dead of a gunshot wound after an auto accident has filed a lawsuit against the town of Reading, Police Chief Douglas Fuchs, 7 Reading police officers, and an unnamed killer that the lawsuit is calling John Doe. Gugza DeBella was a Reading attorney who, according to a report from the state's chief medical examiner, committed suicide in April 2014. However, the family disagrees with that ruling. In a lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court on April 5th, the DeBella family alleges that their son, a 35-year-old attorney who rented a home in Reading, was murdered by an unknown killer the night of April 5th, 2014. The family, acting together with the Connecticut NAACP, also alleged that police incompetence led to the misclassification of DeBella's death and the escape of his killer. They also allege certain members of the police force violated the civil rights of DeBella in a number of instances. Reading police officials cannot comment on ongoing litigation, according to Chief Douglas Fuchs, but he said he has consistently told the media that he is confident his department investigated DeBella's death properly. And 2 Bridgeport police officers who moonlighted at a Main Street bar where police said underage Sacred Heart University students drank have been placed on administrative duty, according to the Connecticut Post. Mayor Joe Ganim and Police Chief Armando Perez say officers Chris Smith and Andrew Tavalera were in charge of security at the Golden Star Cafe, where 85 college students were issued infractions alleging underage drinking. The disclosure came Thursday as the mayor and the chief announced they had stepped up enforcement measures to combat underage drinking in Bridgeport. Police officers are not permitted under department rules to work at bars when they are off duty, Perez said. The 2 officers were taken off their regular duties pending an investigation. The chief said he did not know whether the 2 officers were working at the bar on Tuesday night when police said a task force raided the Golden Star Cafe and found it crowded with Sacred Heart University students, many under 21 years old. Perez said he also was not sure whether Smith and Talavera were working at the bar on March 30th. On that night, a 19-year-old SHU student who later admitted she had been drinking at the bar with friends was raped by a man she met outside the Golden Star and thought was an Uber driver. And in other news today, an Ansonia man was arrested for burglary April 1st for a failed motorcycle theft attempt in Trumbull that happened back on November 4th and left him seriously injured. 31-year-old Fabian Rodriguez was badly injured in the attempted burglary after he crashed the motorcycle on Golden Hill Street. Police said when he turned himself in on a warrant April 1st, he was in a wheelchair. According to the initial incident report, a resident witnessed the accident in November and called it into police, reporting that the bike was left in the middle of the road and that the man who crashed it was picked up off the gravel and thrown into another vehicle by someone who was driving behind him when the incident happened. An investigation led detectives to St. Vincent's Hospital, where they were able to find a man, Fabian Rodriguez, who fit the description of the injuries they believed the burglar suffered during the accident. They reviewed the video surveillance footage to see when he was dropped off, and an investigation led them to the suspect's wife, Yaritzabel Rodriguez, whose vehicle was seen dropping off the suspect. She told police in November she didn't know the suspect and said she had found him when she was driving down Main Street in Bridgeport. She added in her statement to police that she drove him to the hospital and left him because she didn't know him and he asked to be dropped off there. Yaritzabel Rodriguez, who's 33 years old, was arrested at police headquarters back on January 16th for interfering with an officer and giving a false statement. Fabian Rodriguez was released on 2 $10,000 bonds, and he's scheduled to appear in court on April 11th. And 2 homeless men in Milford have died in recent months, according to a report in the Milford Mirror. The 2 men were among a group that social workers in Milford call Milford's unsheltered homeless, those who choose for a variety of reasons to live outside in tents or in their cars rather than take advantage of area shelters. Tony Dolan, director of the Bethel shelter, said some of them will come in to the no-free shelter during the winter months, but others will not. She said while she couldn't offer details details on the 2 homeless men who died in Milford in recent months, she confirmed that there were 2 deaths, both due to lifestyle-related health issues. One resident who works at a downtown area liquor store said he remembers the 2 men and noticed that they stopped frequenting the shop. One of the 2 he recalled was well-read, a big fan of rock music, and someone who enjoyed taking the train to New York every now and then. According to the downtown employee, if he shaved and cleaned up, he could have been any one of us. Dolan said their deaths were not connected to cold weather or any trend, but rather their lifestyle and health issues. Much more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And New Canaan police yesterday were warning citizens that there was a scam underway in which a man claiming to be an Eversource employee was threatening to cut off power to businesses unless they immediately paid what he said was an overdue bill. Police warned that this was happening in the business district and urged residents, if approached, to call 911 and try to obtain the suspect's name or a vehicle description and license plate. They said the suspect in New Canaan yesterday was a white male between the ages of 35 and 45, and he was driving a white van. We're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for a look at the forecast today. Rob?
All right, Kate, good morning, everyone. A slight chance of showers this afternoon. Partly sunny, high 52. Wind out of the west from 10 to 13. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 32. To Saturday, I am so sorry to report this, a chance of snow between 9 and noon. Then rain likely, so the good news, little to no snow accumulation expected, high 45 as you can imagine. Saturday night, the rain will continue, mix with snow as we get to the overnight hours, then gradually end. We might see a half an inch. Some places around the area may see a coating. There could even be upwards to 2 inches in the higher elevations. Maybe this is the last gasp, I don't know, but nonetheless, 27 for the low tomorrow night, and the wind will be from the north at 14 to 16. The Sunday, partly sunny, gradually becoming sunny after that, sunnier, I should say, with a high near 45. The Sunday night, chance of rain and snow after 1 in the morning, increasing clouds, low 36. Rain for Monday, cloudy, a high near 53. To Tuesday, more rain, mostly in the morning hours up until about noon, cloudy and 54. Wednesday, 53. Thursday, 52. Sunny for both of those days around the region. Danbury at 42, Wilton at 46, and in Shelton, it's 47 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Dang takes a look back on this day in history. Rob has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have some more news coming up after this.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first, a place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
And we're back on your coffee break, and it's Friday, and before we head out for the weekend, of course, we need our final look back on this day in history with Donald Eng.
Well, thanks, Kate. For today, April 8th, a legend feels the need to prove his skill, but we're going to go all the way back now to 1820. The Venus de Milo, discovered in the Aegean island of Milos, created sometime between 130 and 100 BCE. It is one of the best-known examples of ancient Greek sculpture. Interesting fact, it might not be Venus. Scholars think it depicts Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, often depicted half-nude, but it could be the sea goddess Aphrodite, the patron goddess of Milos, or it could be someone else entirely. Also, blame the French for the missing arms. The team that discovered the statue threw them away because they looked too rough. The statue was also 6 foot 8 inches tall. To 1904, the Longacre Square in Midtown Manhattan is renamed Times Square after the New York Times built its new headquarters building at the intersection of 42nd Street and Broadway. The Times occupied that new building for less than a decade before relocating to 43rd Street in 1912. The tradition of the ball drop on New Year's Eve began in 1908 and continues to this day. Now we go to 1987. Los Angeles Dodger executive Al Campanis resigns amid controversy over racially charged remarks he had made on the TV program Nightline. In response to a question about the scarcity of blacks in management positions 40 years after Jackie Robinson had broken the color barrier, Campanis said blacks may not have some of the necessities to be a field manager or a general manager. He went on to say that blacks are often poor swimmers because they don't have the buoyancy. In an interview the following year, Campanis clarified that he was referring to the lack of African Americans with experience rather than innate abilities. It should be pointed out that his African American teammates did speak very highly. He had a very good reputation with the minorities that he played with and managed. And finally, now we go to 1974 for this.
Here's the pitch by Downing, swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
Well, I thought about you come a long ways, baby. I mean, it's happened, from Mobile, Alabama, all the way to breaking one of the most prestigious record in baseball. I feel very proud of myself. I feel like I had shown everybody that I could play Major League Baseball.
The sellout crowd is cheering.
That, of course, Hank Aaron at the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, hitting his 715th career home run to pass Babe Ruth's 39-year-old record. He would hold the record for 24 years until Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa broke the record in 1998. Thanks to ace director Eric Gendron for the editing job. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. All right, well, getting back to some more news today. 4 Fairfield University students faced drug charges, and 5 more were issued infractions following an investigation by the school's Department of Public Safety. According to police, campus security received a tip regarding possible drug sales at Claver Hall on campus and began an investigation. The probe monitored a large amount of traffic in and out of 3 particular rooms in Claver, as well as one student who regularly went between his dorm room and another hall and back to Claver carrying a backpack. after executing searches of the 4 rooms last Friday, and according to the report, finding marijuana, psychedelic mushrooms, cocaine, controlled prescription pills, and dozens of items of drug paraphernalia. Campus security personnel called in Fairfield police. The students arrested were Jaimel Gonick, 22 years old, James G. Brown, 19, 20-year-old Jack Crowley, and 20-year-old Brian Mason. All were released on a promise to appear at State Superior Court in Bridgeport, with Brown, Crowley, and Mason given court dates of April 18th. Gonick is set to appear in court on April 15th. According to police, 5 other students were issued tickets for possession of marijuana. But it's time to throw it over to Rob for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Rob?
All right, Kate. Few notes on that April 8th, 1974 night. If you got a quick look in the highlights, when the group gathers at home plate with Hank Aaron, there's a guy in a big white overcoat. That is Craig Sager, now of TNT, who, of course, is rather courageously battling cancer, and we always send our best out to Craig Sager. Beyond that, there are a couple of play-by-play calls, and you can probably guess which one's my favorite. Google it. Guy's name is Scully. He's pretty good. Anyway, let us jump into sports, and of course now Barry Bonds holds the record, and so it goes. In any event, let's dive into sports now locally. From boys lacrosse, we'll head right to the scoreboard, and a good one last night as Trumbull knocked off St. Joseph 10-9. Jake Bova made 19 saves as the Eagles held off a furious St. Joe's comeback. In boys lacrosse, it was Ward over Massac 12-5. Ridgefield got 3 touchdowns. I'm kidding. 21-0 the final score. Brian McMahon all over Central 15-0. We move over to girls lacrosse now. Staples doubled up Danbury 16-8. Jen Krupa had a hat trick as Stamford took care of McMahon 8-3. Claire Seacrest scored 4 times. Ward over West Hill 15-2. New Canaan got a 15-5 win over St. Joseph as Kylie Murphy scored 4 times. Catherine Granito, Carly Bucci, Campbell Armstrong, Gianna Bruno, and Eric Gendron all scored twice. Okay, maybe Eric didn't have any goals in that game. Darien beat Ludlow 19-6. How about this day for Laura Murphy? 6 goals. 6. Chandler Kirby, Susanna Rope added 3 each. Regan Steed added 4 goals for Fairfield Ludlow. The boys volleyball now. Darien shut down Norwich Free Academy 3-0, scores of 25-12, 25-7, 25-19. Tyler Herget went for 15 points, 4 aces, and 22 assists. Let's go back to boys lacrosse for a moment. According to USA Today, the New Canaan Rams are the 9th best team in the nation. The Rams had solid victories against Loyola Blakefield of Maryland and Fairfield Prep to start the season. Loyola Blakefield is 10th in the country. They were 8th. The Brunswick Bruins of Greenwich are number 6, and the Darien Blue Wave ranked 18th. Now, I understand we're only a few games into the season, but still give these teams their props. And in the debut of the Hartford Yard Goats, the former New Britain Rock Cats went to the Diamond in Richmond, Virginia. Yes, that is the name of the ballpark. They beat the Flying Squirrels 5-4. The team, by the way, on Twitter is now saying they will be 142-0 for the season. They like to have fun on that Twitter account. By the way, it was technically a home game for the Goats, who won't officially play a game in Hartford until May 31st. A huge schedule today. I can't possibly read it all to you unless Kate wants to take the rest of the hour off. But I can tell you these games. Trumbull at Massac in baseball, Ridgefield at Newtown, Hamden at Ludlow, Pomperog home for Danbury, New Milford at New Canaan, and Wilton at Weston. The FCAC SCC Challenge going on. Stanford and Harding also as well. That's all in baseball. Softball, Trinity Catholic at Joel Barlow, Ward home for Massac, Harding at Ludlow. You've got Wilton at Weston, Norwalk is at New Fairfield, New Canaan at Greenwich, Pomperog home for Danbury, Ridgefield at Bunnell, Naugatuck at Trumbull, Darien at Newtown. Just a couple of boys lacrosse games. Trinity Catholic at West Hill. Brookfield will host Ludlow. Girls lacrosse, John Jay of New York is at Greenwich. West Hill home for Norwalk, and Trumbull at Ridgefield. Track and field, Trumbull and St. Joe's meet at 3:30, both boys and girls. Several boys and girls tennis matches on the docket today as well, along with some boys volleyball, including Greenwich at Danbury, St. Joseph home for Darien, Trumbull at the Fairfield Co-op, and Staples is at Ridgefield. It is cloudy outside, but it's supposed to be well enough to play these games today, so we will see if they can get all of them in. And again, you know, boys tennis, the baseball, softball, girls tennis, the outdoor stuff, that's the stuff that stands the chance of getting postponed. I don't think it will. I think we'll be okay today. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today, the Milford Police Department is partnering with the Connecticut Highway Safety Office as part of National Distracted Driving Awareness Month to crack down on drivers who use their cell phones. The joint effort will run this month through April 30th. Police said that on a national level in 2014, an estimated 3,179 people were killed and an additional 431,000 were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. However, according to police, last year, Connecticut drivers started to get the message as a result of the crackdown. Law enforcement wrote over 22,000 tickets as part of last year's effort to get drivers to put down their phones and pay attention to the road. Fines for using a mobile phone: your first offense, $150, a second offense is $300, and a third is $500. Police will run this heightened campaign again August 3rd through the 16th. And Catholic Bishop Frank J. Caggiano has announced the appointment of Stephen Cheeseman of East Mauritius, Long Island, as Superintendent of Schools for the Diocese of Bridgeport. Cheeseman currently serves as Associate Superintendent of Schools in the Diocese of Rockville Center, Long Island, and will assume his new responsibilities in Bridgeport effective June 30th. He will be responsible for more than 9,000 students and 1,000 faculty members in the 31 elementary and high schools sponsored by the Diocese of Bridgeport. He will also chair the Diocesan Education Commission formed by Bishop Caggiano in 2014 to reorganize Catholic education and lead a strategic planning process. Well, we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to run down the top stories of the week on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, SSS has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, SSS will get the job done fast, big or small. At SSS, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at SSSclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Friday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and now we're going to take a look at the top stories this week, the ones that garnered the most attention and feedback across all our HAN Network news sites this week, including heartbreaking news out of Ridgefield, where the community is mourning the loss of 16-year-old Oliver Samuel Edson. He died Tuesday after a heroic 2-year battle against osteosarcoma. His family says he was surrounded by his family in his home when he passed. Oliver was a member of the Ridgefield High School class of 2018. He attended Ridgeberry Elementary School and Scotts Ridge Middle School. He was described by his family as a gifted artist, metalworker, and inventor. He was also an avid snowboarder, and his family said he was an archer and an aspiring bladesmith. A memorial ceremony will be held this Saturday, April 9th at noon at the Matrix Corporate Center, and that's in Danbury, but you can get more information at theridgefieldpress.com. And in nearby Wilton, residents were remembering the legacy of former high school football coach Tom Fujitani, who died Saturday morning. The 73-year-old Fujitani, who was head coach of the Wilton High School football team for more than 3 decades, reportedly suffered a heart attack while helping a friend put a boat in the water at Candlewood Lake. Fujitani was an avid fisherman who often took trips to the Pacific Northwest to fish for salmon. Kevin Wall, a Wilton resident and a 1988 Wilton High School graduate who played football under Fujitani, said this is a big loss to the Wilton sports community. He said there have only been 4 head coaches in the history of Wilton football, and Tom was a pillar. Fujitani joined the Wilton football program in 1966 as an assistant coach for Nick Zioli, the first head coach in the program history. When Zioli stepped down to focus on his duties as athletic director, Fujitani took over as head coach ahead of the 1969 season. There's a lot more on his life at wiltonbulletin.com. A big story this week came out of Darien, where neighbors who have been fighting field lights at Darien High sent a letter saying they would approve the lights with some very specific caveats. Some of those compromise items included an adjusted appraisal on their home values so as to not create an adverse economic impact, as well as only 10 games a year and only varsity games to be played on the field. It is the first time neighbors have agreed to permanent lights in a battle that has gone on for over a decade. There's a lot more on that story and reaction to that letter at DarienTimes.com. And in Weston, following an extensive planning and zoning public hearing Monday night, Jess DePasquale is withdrawing his application to create an active adult community district in Weston. The new zone would have established a residential community zone for persons 55 years of age and older. About 350 residents packed the Weston High School cafeteria for the public hearing, which lasted more than 3 hours. Most were there to oppose the creation of the new zone. You can get more on that story at thewestonforum.com. And Eversource Energy's project of trimming and removing trees along 66 miles of New Canaan roads is now on hold. The town's Department of Public Works has stepped in and asked Eversource to limit their work to trimming and not remove any trees until the town and the public get a clear understanding of the scope of the work. Eversource introduced the project in early March, saying they would be trimming and removing trees in New Canaan in order to reduce the frequency of power outages and shorten the duration of any outage. The plan calls for replacing some of the wooden utility poles with taller and thicker poles, going from 40 feet to 45 feet, and installing rubber-coated lines that would be more resistant to falling branches. But New Canaan Public Works discovered that Lewis Tree could not state which trees would be trimmed and which would be removed. When Public Works discovered that, and after receiving calls and questions from a number of residents, they directed Lewis Tree not to remove any trees and proceed only with trimming until a full plan becomes clear. And finally, readers and viewers were excited to see the spring sports season get underway. The HAN Network's coverage of lacrosse and baseball this past week made our top stories. You can watch those games on demand at HAN.network, and you can also check our upcoming schedule for what's on tap next week. But I'm going to throw it back over to Rob Adams now for a final look at the forecast. Rob?
We hope to have baseball for you on Monday. I'm supposed to call that game, but the weather not looking so great. That's what we call a segue in the trade. Let's talk about it now. Today, slight chance of showers afternoon, partly sunny and 52, and the wind will be a slight issue from the west at 10 to 13. And you can only imagine with all the wind we've been having about the trees and such, so you just want to take that into account. Partly cloudy, low 32 for tonight. Chance of snow between 9 and noon tomorrow morning, then mostly cloudy and a high 45, but the wind not so bad out of the northeast from 6 to 9. To Saturday night, rain likely, possibly mixing with snow after 10, gradually ending, low 27. Now, overall in, say, Shelton, for instance, low-lying areas, little to no accumulation. Higher elevations, there can be a coating and up to 2 inches of snow to this storm around the region, so that's region-wide. Partly sunny for Sunday, becoming gradually sunny, then a high near 45, and the Sunday night chance of rain and snow after 1, increasing clouds on the overnight, low 36. Monday chance of rain 53 for the high. Tuesday 54 for the high with rain likely. Wednesday mostly sunny and 53. Thursday mostly sunny and 52 degrees. Danbury, you were up to 43 here, or rather in Wilton, I should say. You're at 46 right here in Shelton. 47 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, before we say goodbye for the weekend, we have some fun video to share out of Stratford. It was a good day yesterday at Two Roads Brewing, rather. Check it out.
Hold it up straight so it's not
Yes, that's Stratford Mayor John Harkins and Two Roads Brewing resuming a historic tradition Thursday when the mayor served as Burgermeister and tapped the first keg of Two Roads His Honor Maybach. It's a Bavarian tradition for the mayor of the town to tap the first keg. Harkins has performed the duty at Two Roads for the past 4 years. But we're now going to say goodbye. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And of course, your coffee break will be back Monday at 11. We'll see you then.